This story begins with an orphan boy named Valentine who comes to a big city in search of work. As soon as he steps into the city, he notices that shops are locked with shutters down. When he asks around, he learns that suddenly the city has been overrun by rats. These rats not only broke into homes but also ruined all the food supplies. Valentine asks a man about work, but the man shakes his head in despair and says that because of the rats, he cannot hire anyone. Just then, a boy sitting nearby looks at Valentine and suddenly lunges toward his bag. Before Valentine can understand anything, the boy tries to run away with it. Hearing the commotion, two guards nearby rush toward them. In the confusion, instead of catching the real thief, they grab Valentine. They believe he is the thief. A frightened Valentine struggles to free himself, but the guards don't listen and begin to drag him away. Suddenly, Valentine falls to the ground and pretends to faint. Taking advantage of this trick, he slowly opens his eyes and seizes the chance to quietly escape. After this, the scene shifts to the palace. Inside the palace, too, the terror of the rats has spread. The queen is extremely worried. Just then, the most famous magician of the city, Ambrose, enters the court. His walk is full of confidence and his face is serious. He assures the queen that he will soon find a powerful spell to drive away the rats, and as soon as the spell is complete, the rats will disappear forever. After this, the story returns to Valentine. He sits near an old stone statue in the middle of the city. The statue seems to be of a girl, with tears falling from her eyes. Valentine, sitting beside it, tries to sleep. Suddenly, a gust of wind blows a poster onto him. On it is written that magician Ambrose needs a servant. Reading this, Valentine decides that in the morning he will go there and try for the job. With a new hope in his heart, he slowly drifts into sleep. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Ambrose with his magic wipes out all the rats. The palace corridors, the kitchen, every corner becomes spotless, as if rats never existed there. When the queen discovers this miracle the next morning, she is overjoyed. The following morning, Valentine wakes up early and heads straight to Ambrose's house. When he arrives, he sees a girl already standing there. She faces him and says her name is Katerina and that she desperately needs the job. She suggests Valentine should go to the greatest magician of the city, Zacharias, for work instead. But Valentine calmly replies that he only wants to work here. At that moment, magician Ambrose arrives. He tells them both that the work is dangerous, and they must perform tasks such as skinning snakes and finding bat teeth in the forest at night. They both listen carefully and accept without hesitation, saying they are ready. Hearing this, Ambrose smiles at them and points to an old book lying nearby. He tells them that, with the magic from this book, they must prepare hot coffee. Valentine and Katerina immediately go to the book, open it, and read out an old spell written inside. With the chanting of the spell, the water nearby starts heating, and within moments it begins to steam. They each prepare their cup of coffee. But as soon as Valentine looks away, Katerina secretly sprinkles some salt into his cup. When Ambrose tastes the coffee, his face twists in disgust. Angrily, he scolds Valentine, saying even in such a simple spell, he made a mistake. Valentine is about to explain when Ambrose orders him to leave at once. In contrast, he praises Katerina's coffee and accepts her as his new servant on the spot. Disheartened, Valentine then goes to the greatest magician, Zacharias. When he reaches his house, he finds thick dust everywhere. Old books lie scattered, and the room has no trace of magical activity. It feels as if the place hasn't been touched for years. Soon Zacharias appears. He no longer looks the same. He tells Valentine that due to an accident, he has given up magic and has become a pharmacist. Now he makes medicines from herbs and heals people. But Valentine is not one to give up easily. He repeatedly begs Zacharias to teach him magic. Just then, Zacharias notices a strange round mark on Valentine's hand. Slowly, he extends his own hand, showing that he too bears the same mark. Seeing this, Zacharias changes his decision and agrees to keep Valentine with him. Meanwhile, Ambrose goes to the queen's court. Bowing, he tells her that, in casting the spell to drive away the rats, he had used up much of his energy, which is why he hadn't appeared for a few days. The queen listens attentively, but suspicion still lingers in her eyes. Suddenly, Ambrose grabs her hand and tries to propose. His face beams with confidence, but the queen's face flares with anger. In fury, she orders him to leave the court at once. A disappointed Ambrose leaves and goes straight to Katerina. He gives her a small jar and, in a serious tone, tells her to bring special seeds from the fields for magic. He warns her that this task requires both caution and wisdom. Holding the jar, Katerina softly asks about the lily flower that keeps appearing in her dreams. Ambrose pauses for a moment, then says that the lily is a sign of change. That night, Valentine practices magic to heat water. Zacharias catches him and angrily warns never to use magic in his house. Calmly, Valentine replies that magic makes him happy, that it feels like something he was born with. Zacharias falls silent, then shows his own hand with the same round mark. Valentine looks at his own hand where the same mark glows. Zacharias tells him that God has chosen him to become a great magician. Valentine responds that he wishes to become as great a magician as Zacharias himself. Zacharias is about to say more when suddenly the queen arrives. Her face looks troubled. She tells Zacharias that Ambrose had proposed to her, but she refused, and now she is under great stress. Zacharias gravely replies that although Ambrose is indeed a powerful magician, sometimes he uses his powers for evil. During their conversation, it becomes clear that Ambrose was once Zacharias' own student, but after an accident 5 years ago, they separated. Hearing all this, the queen departs. Valentine has silently heard everything. He asks Zacharias what exactly happened 5 years ago that forced him to leave the palace. Angrily, Zacharias explains that back then he was a great magician. One day a blind girl came to him, begging for help to restore her sight with magic. But due to overconfidence, his spell backfired, and the girl turned into a stone statue. The same statue now standing in the middle of the city. That is why he gave up magic. The next day, Valentine tells Zacharias that the sudden appearance and disappearance of the rats makes him suspect that it was Ambrose's doing. Zacharias agrees. They both conclude that Ambrose might have orchestrated it all just to marry the queen. So, they decide to visit Ambrose's house hoping to find some clue. Zacharias tells Valentine that if Ambrose truly did this, his lab must contain something, especially a green magical stone used to drive away rats. When they reach Ambrose's house, Zacharias cleverly makes an excuse to take Ambrose upstairs. At the same time, Valentine sneaks into the lab, searching for the magical stone. The room is filled with strange tools, books and jars, but Valentine's eyes are fixed only on the green stone. In one corner of the lab, Valentine sees a doll resembling the queen, with a necklace holding a red pearl beside it. When he touches the necklace, his hand burns, as if it were protected by strong magic. Then his eyes fall on a horn lying on the table. It was a magical instrument that revealed everything about whatever it was pointed at. Using it, he opens a cabinet and retrieves a magical book. Just then, Katerina enters the lab. Valentine is startled, but without wasting time, he slips out with the book. Outside, he tells Zacharias that though he couldn't find the magical stone, he did see a doll of the queen inside. Hearing this, Zacharias realizes Valentine's suspicion was correct. Later, Valentine makes an excuse and goes into the forest. There, with the magical book, he begins to teach himself spells. Soon he learns to make objects float in the air. He chants spells, meditates, and grows more skilled in magic. That night, Zacharias discovers that Ambrose is using dark enchantments to control the queen. To stop this, he takes her scarf and sprinkles it with a special magical water, chanting counterspells from the book to break the curse. The next day, Ambrose presents the queen with that same red pearl necklace. He believes she is now completely under his power, not knowing Zacharias has already broken the spell. Standing in court, Ambrose boldly announces that he and the queen have long been in love and are soon to marry. But the moment the queen hears this, her face reddens with anger. She harshly rebukes Ambrose and orders him to leave the court. Meanwhile, Valentine sneaks into Ambrose's lab to return the magical book. Katerina warns him to leave quickly, as Ambrose could arrive any moment. The very next moment, Ambrose storms in, furious. Valentine tells him he only came to return Master Zacharias' book, but Ambrose doesn't believe him. He knows Valentine came to spy, so in anger, he drives him away. When Valentine returns to Zacharias, the master orders him to clean the lab while he goes out for important work. In the house, there is a magical broom capable of doing any task. Valentine, who has already learned some spells from the book, chants over the broom, commanding it to fetch water and clean the lab. The broom obeys, fetching a bucket of water again and again. Soon the entire lab floods. Valentine doesn't know the spell to stop it and panics. The water rises until the lab looks like a pond. Just then, Zacharias returns. Opening the door, he sees the scene, his face flushed with anger. The waterlogged books and mess infuriate him. Terrified, Valentine breaks the broom in half. The broom stops, but by then, great damage is done. Zacharias is furious. He glares at Valentine and reminds him he had forbidden him from using magic. For breaking the rules and disobeying, he throws Valentine out of his house. That night, Ambrose, seething with rage, smashes the queen's doll. He mutters that he will fulfill the prophecy spoken by great magicians long ago. Opening his cupboard, he discovers the magical book missing. His face twists with both worry and fury. He immediately realizes it must be Zacharias' doing. The next morning, Valentine passes by a statue in the square and finds Katerina weeping nearby. He approaches and asks if she has any connection with the statue. Softly, Katerina reveals that the statue is her elder sister Clara. She wants to turn her back into a human at any cost, and that is why she had gone to learn magic from Ambrose. Valentine stays silent for a moment, then promises he will help her bring her sister back to life. Together, they sneak into Ambrose's library, searching for a book that might explain how to turn a statue back into a human. But with thousands of books and little time, the task seems impossible. At that moment, Valentine uses the magical horn, which can reveal everything about any object it is aimed at. With its help, they find the right book containing the method to break the spell. Meanwhile, Ambrose, disguised as an old woman, goes to Zacharias' house to kill him. But just then, Valentine and Katerina arrive with the magical book. Seeing them, Ambrose quickly transforms into an owl and hides in a corner, secretly listening to their conversation. Valentine tells Zacharias everything, that Katerina is Clara's sister and came to restore her. He also reveals that Katerina, too, has the same magical mark on her hand as he and Zacharias. Shocked, Zacharias sorrowfully apologizes to Katerina for his past mistake. Valentine shows him the magical book. As soon as Zacharias sees it, he realizes it was Ambrose who tampered with his spell years ago, which had turned Clara into stone. He pulls out a page mentioning an ancient prophecy and holds it before the fire. The prophecy foretold that when Ambrose married the queen, their child would become the most powerful magician in the world, capable of turning anything into gold instantly. Zacharias then explains that Clara's spell could only be broken by a magical lily flower found in the Garden of Heaven. But that garden is extremely dangerous and not easy to reach. Hearing this, Valentine and Katerina decide to go. Ambrose, still hidden as an owl, listens and follows them. Zacharias leads them to a mysterious river, the only passage into the magical garden. With the help of a boat, they cross the river and enter the garden. There they find an old well and descend into it. Meanwhile, Zacharias sees Ambrose heading the same way. Inside the well, Valentine and Katerina find a magical door. Passing through, they reach a wondrous, enchanted garden, where an angel guarding all the flowers greets them. Katerina explains she has come for the flower that can restore her sister. The angel replies they can have it, but warns that if they break any other flower by mistake, they too will turn into stone. The two search through the garden and at last find a red flower. As soon as they pluck it, they are transported back outside the well. Just as they prepare to move forward with the flower, Ambrose blocks their way. He tries to seize it with magic, but Zacharias arrives in time. With his powers, Zacharias weakens Ambrose and returns the flower to Valentine and Katerina. Furious, Ambrose, enraged, turns his own master into stone. Then he snatches the flower from them and pushes them into the well before fleeing. When they regain consciousness, they find themselves still inside the well. With the help of the magical broom, they climb out. Outside, seeing their master turn to stone, they grieve deeply and vow to take revenge on Ambrose. Meanwhile, Ambrose reaches the palace with the magical flower and ensnares the queen under his power. The queen announces publicly that she will marry Ambrose, who will be crowned the new king. Just then, Valentine and Katerina arrive. Ambrose orders the guards to capture Valentine. But in that moment, Katerina snatches the red pearl necklace from the queen's neck, breaking Ambrose's spell. Katerina tells the queen that Ambrose had bewitched her into agreeing to this marriage. The queen is left stunned. Enraged, Ambrose reveals his true form and begins hurling people into the air with magic. He prepares a spell to turn the queen into stone, but Valentine steps forward as her shield. Ambrose's spell rebounds upon himself, and he turns into a stone statue. Then Katerina takes the magical flower to Clara's statue. The moment the flower touches it, Clara becomes human again. At the same time, Master Zacharias also comes back to life from stone, and thus the story ends happily, filled with magic, courage, and love. I'm just a hardworking creator, trying my best, pouring my heart and soul into every video. If you found even a little bit of value or joy in my work, please consider subscribing to my channel. That one small subscription means the world to me and gives me the strength to keep creating. I'd be so grateful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.